Welcome to IHIP News, where Pumps and I share our opinion about the news that is very important in this country and in this world. And the most important thing I've seen all weekend is this video by convicted felon, anti-freedom, anti-constitution, deranged, senile, dementia-ridden Donald Trump. I'll play it here.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
This is full-blown fascist, Christian nationalist authoritarianism. And all of these Christians, the performative ones, I'm talking about Josh Hawley, Moses Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, are having the come-aparts right now because of the Olympics, the drag queens, and that they think it was the Last Supper because they say Christians are being persecuted and they're victims. This is what you should fear. If you are a person of faith, the problem is inside your own house. Nobody is making a bigger mockery of Christianity than this man, and they flock to him blindly like little lapdogs, the weakest beta males and beta females I have ever seen.
It's absolutely jaw-dropping. When I saw that clip, I couldn't believe it. I mean, he is saying the quiet part out loud. I'm going to be a dictator. I'm going to be president till I die. We're never going to have another election. So for people that are on the fence, which way to go, I think it's real obvious. If you want a constitutional democracy, you cannot vote for this man.
The sad thing is, a lot of people do not want it. So he's saying the quiet part out loud to people like you and me, but within the Christian nationalist movement, within the Heritage Foundation, within Project 2025, within all the oligarchs, this is what they want.
Right.
It isn't quiet in those circles. They're going to be like, hey, Trump, can you moderate up a little bit and maybe don't speak out so robustly about abortion? But they can't put a leash on this guy because he can't help himself. But here's what pisses me off the most about this, and it is the lack of front page media coverage of this complete annihilation of our country's norms and rule of law. And let's watch how the media handles this.
President Trump facing some backlash for those comments Friday night, saying his supporters won't have to vote again in 4 years. I'm joined now by the Republican governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu. Governor, what the heck did he mean there?
Well, I think that was a classic Trumpism, if you will. I think he's just trying to make the point that this stuff can be fixed. Obviously, we want everybody to vote in all elections, but I think he was just trying to make a hyperbolic point that it can be fixed as long as he gets back into office and all that. But, classic Trump right there.
Okay, after that, she says, all right, now on to President Biden. She doesn't press him. She doesn't say, why are you laughing? Why is that funny to you, Governor? What is so hilarious about saying that he will fix it to where no one will ever have to vote again? Especially since we know that the Project 2025 is trying to consolidate all of the power in the executive branch. She just gives him a complete pass and they move on. And the onus is always on the Democratic Party to be decent, to uphold democracy. And these flea bags get away with just, oh, that's a real knee slapper. I mean, that's just hilarious what Trump said. Well, it's not funny. It's not funny to the rape victims in red states where we live that have to carry a baby to term. It's not funny for poor people in red states whose governors don't give a shit that they don't have access to health care. It's not funny for a secular person like me that lives in a red state that has out of control Christian nationalists trying to cram the 10 Commandments down everybody's throat constantly. And we have a freak show governor, total limp dick, and a freak show superintendent of schools. It's embarrassing, but they think it's funny. They think it's funny, and the media doesn't hold them to account, and it is abhorrent. And if Trump wins, the media is going to have egg all over their face. It's unbelievable what a piss poor job she did in handling that.
It amazes me that in the 8 years, well, now we're going into 8 years of him being on TV, and people they don't fact check him in real time. They don't call out his lies immediately, and his behavior is so outrageous. It's like people get used to it and they just nullify it or go on to the next thing. This should have been on the front page of every newspaper, the lead story on every news program. But instead, he's laughing and she's not calling him out on it. And I get so tired of, oh, well, that's just how Trump talks. If Biden talked like that, if Harris talked like that, can you even fucking imagine the pearl clutching?
Obama wore a tan suit, and Fox News was practically delivered to the emergency room. Yes. They had such a stage 5 meltdown. Donald Trump's wife didn't even speak at the RNC. Had Michelle Obama not spoken at the DNC, I think Sean Hannity would have to go out and probably broadcasting from the ambulance. His heart rate would be so high, they wouldn't even be able to control themselves. They are total hypocrites. They're wound up about the opening of the Olympics, yet in the MAGA world, they show all of this homoerotic, fucked up art where Trump is photoshopped looking like Jesus crucified with muscles, which we all know he has none. But speaking of beta males on the right, I can't believe that nobody is defending Cat Lady Lindsey Graham for the way J.D. Vance has called him out. I mean, they just throw him out. And the Cat Lady Lindsey Graham gets on Fox, remember a few months ago, crying. Send money to President Trump. You got to do it.
Even if it's just $1 or pray.
Okay, so here's how they treat him.
You're not going to have to vote.
Senator, just a minute here, quickly. Yeah. Democrats say the former president is trying to take the reins of the entire democratic system here with these comments. You're laughing. What do you believe he's trying to say? What's the truth?
He's trying to tell the Christian community and anybody else who's listening the nightmare that we're experiencing will soon be over. Give me 4 more years and I'm going to right this ship called America and pass it on to the next generation. We will have democracy, God willing, for a very long time in this country. But what President Trump is trying to tell people, I did it once, I can do it again. These problems can be solved, Graham, but you got to go in a different direction.
Senator Graham, we always appreciate your time.
That's it. Number one, it's not funny. You have everybody's response. Every single Republican's response to what Trump said was to laugh. They used to say all the time that Obama was arrogant, that Obama behaved as though he were a king. They went on and on and on. These people are so morally duplicitous, and they use their faith to shield themselves, and then they weaponize it whenever they want to. And we have insane Christian nationalists that have penetrated the highest levels of the government. And they meet with evangelical megachurch preachers all over the United States to get this messaging out. They use abortion as a wedge issue to drive out these people. They use drag queens. They use the LGBTQIA plus community. But what they want is a conservative Supreme Court, because a conservative Supreme Court has always upheld the white male patriarchy.
That's right.
They always have. They do not want any progressive thoughts or progress in this country. They only want it for them. And it is so incredibly dangerous, because if you look at countries that have installed this form of government, the people that are in it suffer. There is no difference none between what the Christian nationalists are trying to achieve with Donald Trump than what they criticized after 9/11 in all of the Middle Eastern countries. It is the exact same authoritarian government. And the biggest prey for them, the easiest prey for them, is to go to the churches, because these people are used to authoritarian rule within their churches. They're used to women having to submit to their husbands. And I bring all of this up to say the Democrats have coalesced and rallied around a fantastic candidate with the best ideas moving forward for this country. And it's just a cherry on top that she happens to be so brilliant. She happens to be so accomplished, but also a female with some melanin in her skin, because the irony of that victory is an exclamation point. But there will be a white lash. There always is a white lash. Anytime we see that minorities and women progress, white people always lash back. And you can look at the KKK, you can look at the reaction to the civil rights movement. And right now, one party is always trying to make it more difficult for people to vote because they know they are minority rule. And every single Democratic spokesperson for the Harris campaign needs to look no further than this master class that Pete Buttigieg puts on Fox News every chance he can get. Let's play that.
We're all aware of how he's doing. Our country has watched our president lead. And yes, we've also seen the fact that he's 10 years older than he was 10 years ago. But unlike Republicans, right, who in Trump's personality cult will take a look at Donald Trump and say he's perfectly fine, even though he seemed unable to tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi, even though he's rambling about electrocuting sharks and Hannibal Lecter, even though he is clearly older and stranger than he was when America first got to know him. They say he's strong as an ox, leaps tall buildings in a single bound. Well, we don't have that kind of warped reality on our side. Well, on the contrary, the president confronted that reality in what must have been one of the most difficult decisions for an American president to make ever. And he did something that I don't think Donald Trump could even conceive of doing, which is putting his own interests aside for the country.
That gal is so far over her skis.
Totally. The rest of the interview, I mean, she's just like bailing water out of the ocean. She just can't catch up.
And let's talk about what the Republican talking points are right now. The MAGA talking points are, oh, she covered up for Biden, that he was aged. She's covering up for him. Are you kidding me, Fox News? You never show the crazy Hannibal Lecter videos.
Right.
You don't show the crazy videos where he says he wants to end democracy to where nobody ever has to vote again in 4 years. And that's not the first time he said that. You don't cover Project 2025. No one provides more cover for a senile, dementia-ridden, old, narcissistic personality disordered sociopath than Fox News provides for Donald Trump. Because all of these people, they never hear anything but this colorful glow of what a patriot Donald Trump is and how good he is at dry humping the flag and running around with eagles. It's unbelievable that they have the audacity to sit there and be so hypocritical. But I think what's amazing to me is that people buy into it, that they can't critically think. And why can't they critically think? Because they go to these deranged megachurches that discourage critical thinking. Critical thinking is blasphemous. And so they have all of these people morally and intellectually checkmated. They are the sheep. It's the projection that comes out of these people is unbelievable. But I want to leave our viewer with this. You need to look no further for the weakest men on the planet than the MAGA movement. J.D. Vance is married to a woman of Indian descent where people within the MAGA movement have said horribly racist and white supremacist things about her and about their marriage. And here's how this guy, this limp dick, responds to it.
I love my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha. She's such a good mom.
But how do you not say the white supremacy that is at the heart of the MAGA movement is disgusting, and they have targeted my wife, the mother of my children? They don't give a shit.
No.
Ted Cruz didn't give a shit. Donald Trump mops the floor with all of these little limp dicks. It's unbelievable what beta males and how weak these men are. I didn't think anybody could make Sarah Palin look like the worst vice presidential pick on the planet until they rolled out couch fucker, dolphin porn connoisseur, J.D. Vance. It's unbelievable what a shit show this man is. But you know what? It's no surprise because the top of the ticket is equally as big of a shit show. We're just used to it by now. He's our newest entertaining nut job that we get to analyze right now. But he's every bit as crazy and a bad candidate as Donald Trump is.
Absolutely. And when he said, but she's not Caucasian, but I love her. So you're telling us how you feel about her race right there.
I love her despite her being brown.
Despite her being brown. I couldn't believe it. This was part of the redemption tour. I could not believe my ears. He is deplorable.
And think about this. Every night, she falls prey to potentially having to have sex with that beta male.
Yeah, four names. I mean, maybe he role plays and she can like disassociate with one of his many identities.
I
don't know how she does it, but I mean, he hates women. That's obvious. And he hates minorities. So it's like, I really have come to have a lot of empathy for her.
Yeah, I don't have empathy for her. I don't have empathy for women that are apologists for misogynist, sexist. And I think it's a huge problem. And I think women across this country, we saw it recently, Kylie posted some stuff on our Instagram, and the entitlement of women that cover up for these misogynist men is disgusting. To me, it's the equivalent of being an excuser of racism. And so I don't have empathy for her. I don't have empathy for Melania. I don't have empathy for Heidi Cruz. They have an opportunity while they still can, because he wants to make it more difficult for people to get divorced. But they have an opportunity to show their kids, this is not the way. This is not the way you treat human beings, and I'm divorcing your father because he treats me and thus, by extension, you like we're pieces of shit. And she doesn't have the balls to do it. So fuck her, fuck Usha, fuck Melania, fuck Heidi, fuck all those bitches. I'm sorry, but have some balls. We get up every day deep in a red state and say exactly how we feel. And people attack us on Instagram all the time because we feel it in our bones that it's the right thing to do, because we stand for equality, we stand for liberty, and we stand for justice. But these women, no, they hide behind their husbands in this weird grasp for power, and they can't even, for the sake of their own kids, show them this is what having a moral backbone looks like. And it's all a part of this crazy fucked up world of the megachurch, weird Christian nationalist culture, and I've just completely had it. All right, stick with us for more hot takes. It's so entertaining.